Cartier, and that's my name, Fine. And I'm so excited. I am the host for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing and their tribe. And this is their virtual podcast. And just wanted to let you know we have this amazing woman, a cool guest speaker who's here. Her name is Tammy, and she's from VIA. That's VIA, but it's like VE A VIA. And so this one, and she actually helped with people with low vision, blind, and I just wanted to bring her on board to talk about what's up and introduce you. Would you be willing to share about that, Tammy? Welcome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Alexandra. I'm excited to be here as well and to see you again. And and there goes my phone. I'm sorry. Always happens.
That's okay. It happened too. When you have.
Yeah. So I'm excited to tell you about VIA, formerly the Olmsted Center for Sight. We changed our name just at the end of last year, and we are the agency that serves the comprehensive needs of people who are blind or visually impaired. And prior to being the Olmsted Center, we were the blind agency of Western New York. And when I interviewed, I asked, why did we change our name from the Blind Association? And I was told there was a lot of confusion that we only treated people who were completely blind or only saw darkness. And those that were low vision didn't know that we also served them. So by including visually impaired in the name, it helps to speak to the fact that we treat or work with individuals that have any form of low vision or blindness.
That's why I noticed your name had changed, and I was just wondering, it was there a new ownership or just decided and branding, a different branding or something like that. So I was just really curious about, wait a minute, I remember saying it was Homestead, and now that I'm in VIA, I'm like, what is that? What was that all about? I'm really excited to hear what the changes are, what's going on, why the name has changed. So
yeah, the Olmsted Center, it was named after Elizabeth Pierce Olmsted, MD. And there was confusion, in the region. Olmsted Parks really has the brand for Olmsted. So we decided to change the name, and we also wanted to change the image a little bit. I think people, think of the blind agency as the place you go at the end where you're going to come and play bingo. And we really do so much more than that. We really are much more progressive and vivacious, and hopefully our new branding, will help to give us that new image as well.
I think a lot of people are changing the company's name there just to make it more fresh or something, or upbeat. And then what's the meaning behind it? So what was that all about? It was really interesting how you were describing, the community, how their name, how it related to the person that was visually impaired and those who were completely blind. What if it's a positive or a negative? What people perceive it. that it really, it's the same thing with the view. The same thing. What's behind the view? It's all about the hard of hearing, the deaf, and their awareness. And I'm sure you are very familiar, knowledgeable how the via help the person who was diagnosed with vision loss. I mean, in what degree how do you guide them? How, where do they go? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, probably similar to hearing loss. Vision loss, you can be blind at birth, or you can have a congenital disability where you lose your vision over time, or you could have a traumatic accident that results in blindness. So we work with people in all of those categories, from infants through the elderly, and we try to maximize their independence with whatever level of vision that they have left. And that includes working with kids in the preschools, working with kids K through 12. We have adults that are working as accountants and electricians and all professions who maybe are losing their sight. And we work with them to build accommodations into the job. Technology has been just amazing in what technology allows people to do. And it really lets people be in just about any profession that somebody that sighted is, just by just different adaptations and the use of technology. So it's really become quite advanced.
Wow, that's amazing. I like to hear a lot about the technology and how they are being more independent, like being how you help them, when they're at work. And there's a lot of people are still unaware of. I don't like the word ignorant, but it's not the word. Unaware of the circumstance. How does the job fit for somebody who with vision loss or hearing, or maybe they're deaf and blind? I'm working on a project regarding to that combination of the devices for the deaf and blind, both and visually impaired and period. In technology, and how are they being placed into job that is not low end. And when I say high end, I mean high level, high functioning, like working IT or working in places that related, technology related.
Yeah, great question. In the manufacturing environment, certainly building adaptations into machinery is one way. They can put guides in place, so you're really using your hands to just guide you on a particular machine, just so they can use tactile. But I think the biggest advances have come through the use of computers and the screen reading technology that a person can do anything on a computer without sight. You just learn how to use keystrokes instead of a mouse, and the computer reads into your ear. And our telecommunications operators, they actually listen to the caller in one ear and listen to the computer in the other ear, so they're getting two different inputs in each ear at the same time. So it shows you how amazing the human body is, and we really only use a fraction of it until we actually have to.
Wow.
And when you unplug the computer, the rest of us can't even understand what it's saying, because they've learned how to listen to it at such a fast rate that we can't even understand it. But it just takes practice. And then, you talked about IT. There are even blind individuals that know how to do all the coding for software programming. And you would think that that would be something that would require visual, but it doesn't. There are actually blind, software coders that, again, the technology just allows them to perform that work. So, we've taken people that are, mortgage brokers, insurance agents. We have a gentleman who is the #1 sales rep for Aflac Insurance, and he's blind and walks all over, travels all over New York with his guide dog, and he's amazing.
That's it. Truly amazing. Having a computer 1 ear and having you talking to somebody. I think, I guess when you're totally blind or the low vision, your other senses amplified. Like my sensory, it amplifies like nose or smell, but I can't. But my eyes are much stronger, and I can grasp it. But hearing, I can't do that. I can't do the combination of multitask. The word multitask. There's a definition of multitasking for you can write and you can listen at the same time, or you can actually multitask productively in project. Then it sounds like the new division of for the blind having computer 1 ear and then having that. That's a new definition of multitask that I never heard of. So that's brilliant. I mean, really. Wow, technology defines them very differently. How you place them? How you convince people they can do exactly as a normal individual with our division? What are your tips or what your recommendation? What do you do?
Yeah, another great question. I had no idea before I came here, how capable people could be without their vision. We all fear losing our vision. We fear losing our hearing. And until you actually see what they can do and demonstrate. So, oftentimes it just takes showing somebody. When people come in and tour and see how capable individuals are, it really changes their impression. And I know, I think it's the rest of it's the sighted world that's the biggest barrier. It's just demonstrating, and again, not because they're ignorant, but they've just never seen it before. So we oftentimes will have one employer talk with another employer and say, this is the best employee that I have, and they just can't see, but doesn't mean they can't perform the work. So oftentimes it just takes showing them. It takes showing the employers that the accommodations are not expensive. It's not hard for an employer to make those accommodations. Oftentimes they're fearful of, will we have more workman's compensation, or will there be more injuries on the job? What if they trip and fall? And again, it just takes getting to know them and show them around once, and they're able to get back and forth to work on the subway system. They certainly are able to walk around the office once they get accustomed to it.
I think that's very important, especially when you're even a job coach. I was a job coach for more of a mid-functioning to low functioning, and not so much of a high functioning. And I dealt with somebody who was deaf and blind. That he was a low functioner, but he was very good, knowledgeable when it comes to what his task. He knew. It's like really, really fast, and you can totally see that. And from my case of understanding being hard of hearing, it's harder for somebody who's never been on the employer side to see that we just have an extra step that we need to take, and we may have to take a little longer than that on the average person trying to retain that and build the confidence. So what is your how do you help, or what is your recommendation on how you build the confidence to be able to walk into anywhere, any place, even though you have a limitation that if you cannot try harder or try, you can't do it. Your performance, and the performance rate, people are looking at the data, you're not into the same level. I just can't. So how you convince your employee that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess like with anybody else that's learning a new job, they're not going to be as good when they start. But we find that people who are blind can be as good in most jobs. And it, I think we start by working with people on their interview skills and how do you address the questions, directly. Don't try to hide things. Have people be comfortable with asking you questions. We tell our people, we know you could get mad if people don't know the right way to behave or the right way to, you can say to somebody who's blind, hey, did you watch that movie last night? That's okay. So tell people, we tell our clients, tell people that's okay. You break the ice for them and make them comfortable because,
social skills, right?
Yeah,
Like the social skills or something.
Yeah. I mean, 99% of the people want to do the right thing. They just haven't interacted with somebody who's blind before. And I went through that learning curve here. And I know I still go through it. And it helps me a lot when people are just willing and allow me to ask questions and they're open to my questions.
Exactly. Asking questions is a great way. I think a lot of people who are with hearing or who are not surrounding are not used to having people like with some sort of disability asking a lot more questions than you were having a conversation. How are you dealing with the COVID-19 years to being pandemic? What is that like for you guys?
Yeah, well, I guess because we're so used to using technology, it hasn't, for some parts of our service, it hasn't been too bad. A little bit different when you do client services. We've, earlier in the year when everything was shut down, we weren't able to see some of our clients, but we did a lot through the phone. For those that have low vision, we're able to do, remote and some Zoom work. But there's also, some new technology out there that helps us to work with people remotely that, I think we can all do a lot more than we thought we could. But it's certainly not the same. Our contact center, we run the 211 Health and Human Services phone line. So they've been very busy with the community. And then we also have a big manufacturing plant, and we provide, we bring gloves over from China and do the packing and put them in boxes. So we have a contract with Wegmans. We provide all 101 Wegmans grocery stores with the gloves that their food service workers wear. So all of those get packed here at VIA. And again, gloves and PPE have been a big demand. So we've been very busy. We have a lot of other products and customers as well, but that's one of our biggest ones. And then we actually took on a project for the community because we buy and purchase and resell and distribute products. A lot of the nonprofits in the community didn't have contacts or the ability to actually buy PPE, or they maybe only need 10 boxes, and it was actually easier to buy 5,000 boxes than 10. So we did a survey of all of the nonprofits in the community, and we've done 3 rounds of purchases for over 150 agencies. All the equipment comes in here. We repackage and distribute it to the different nonprofits. So it's been a nice way to help give back. We're not buying it, we're buying it and getting better pricing, and then they buy it, and they buy it from us.
Wow, that's brilliant. I mean, just to see the transformation, how customer service talking over the phone or going back and forth, and the creativity of all this, enjoying this time being separated from, separating all these wonderful things. Wow, even the positivity, it's just having that positivity of this hope, other than being stuck at home, and the transitioning home, working from home, where we have all the equipment that we can actually work, function very well. Where at work or any place that they're at, they're limited. But when you're at home, you can do more than one thing. And the question I have is, what type of resources that you can provide? I'm actually going to start wrapping things up, but I was just wanting to say, what is there anything or you like to share on a VCAT that you want to spread the word for, and what you recommend for people with low vision, or for somebody else that want to move forward?
What's most important is call us. Don't wait. So often we have, I think people think, well, I'm going to an eye doctor and my eye doctor will tell me about it. And the eye doctor is thinking about the medical and the surgical care, and they don't oftentimes think about your independent function. So if you're working and you're losing your eyesight or you're having difficulty, just call us. Don't wait until you lose your job because you can't perform. Give us a call, and we'll see what we can do to try to build in some adaptations so you can make that transition as it's occurring. So there's really, I don't have any general advice for everyone, but I guess don't think of going to VIA or the blind agency as the end of the road, but instead it'll be a service that'll help you stay on the path that you were on and remain independent. It's a difficult thing to lose your eyesight, but I think we help to make that transition a lot easier. And we had one gentleman who had a heart attack and he went completely blind. And as soon as we showed him that he could still use his iPhone, he was like, okay, I can do this.
That's beautiful. I mean, really beautiful, because then it really opened it's like, we're still 2 people trying to understand how to use the technology. And you think to know what you're doing? What? I don't know that one. Wow. It's just a beautiful way of communicating, or it's just something different. You're just, you can't see, or you can a little bit, but still have a conversation. And this is the beauty part about having a conversation, joining the conversation of being who with the deaf and hard of hearing. And how can we join the conversation with you? And that was the thing that I'm solving the problem with. How do we communicate with somebody who is deaf and blind, and those who are deaf? How do you communicate with the people who are in the secular world, where they may not know they have a disability? What do you do? So this is brilliant. This is so I'm blown away by, like, having one person you can do, like, talking to your customer service, and then the other one you got the computer going on that one. I mean, that part I never thought, and you didn't even relationship about it's like, that's another definition of multitask, how
Yep.
you can spread that word out. I mean, just to come to you, it may be very intimidating, not to you personally, I mean, to your facility, can be very intimidating for some people who don't know how to say. Is it okay to go in and say, hey, I'm very curious, or I'm lost? You know, lost in translation is another term, lost in translation for us in conversation. And this is very helpful. Thank you so much, Tammy. It's been a pleasure just to hear you and describe, what you're doing. And please, make sure you check out our website. If you have anything you want to share with us, we love to post it and bring resources. I promise everybody free resources, resourceful information about your VIA. It's not homestead, but VIA. That's so cute. It's so cute. I love it. And I just want all those information that you're receiving. I promise you, like a page. If we can, if you want to put your logo up on our website, if you have anybody who wants to join our conversation, who want to be a part of this podcast, come on and sign up. We'd love to share it and spread the word out. I'm so excited. Happy holiday. And
Well, thank you. And come and visit us when we all can visit again. Please give me a call and say I'm coming over and I want to see what you're doing. So we'd love to have you, and thank you for
bye.